Jesus freak here. Once in a while, I've had people come across my channel who have King James only beliefs. And I can understand why they'd think I'm a kindred spirit. Some of the words I say do sound an awful lot like the messages you hear from the King James only movement. I agree with them that people like Nestle and Alond and those who work on the scholarly New Testament text are people who have no business working with the text. But I will disagree with them when they say, for example, maybe they might say that Morris Robinson or Zane Hodges also had no business dealing with the text. Some of them might say that we have a perfect text in Scrivener's Greek New Testament. And I'd be like, well, why exactly are you saying that? Because Scrivener reconstructed as far as he could without creating readings out of whole cloth, which I'm sure he could have if he wanted to. Just like Erasmus did. The Greek Vorlog of the King James. Now, if you're saying that it took 1,500 years from the time the last book of the Bible was written until we had a compilation that we could call the Word of God, or if you're saying that in that 1,500 years it got so corrupted that God had to come down from heaven and fix things, implying that before 1604 there wasn't a Bible. The 1604 is when they started working on the KJV. I think you got some theological issues. Now, you'll rarely, it has happened once or twice, but you will rarely see me use anything other than a KJV on this channel, as long as I'm working in English. That's not because I think KJV is any better than any other version. I do believe it should have a preeminent place as a standard in the church. That's not because I consider it superior. And in fact, I think, what you use in your own private study doesn't really matter. Although I think the KJV should at least be part of that. And probably about half my viewership have just put on a surprised Pikachu face. I frequently make reference to other translations. I use the Latin Vulgate sometimes. Shock! Horror! Sometimes I read the Bible in Spanish. The NBLA is not translated from the Textus Receptus primarily. I say primarily because clearly there are readings that come from the Textus Receptus. It has a Camajanian in Spanish, exactly where you'd expect it to be. Because, for whatever flaws it may have, it was translated by people who believed they were handling the Word of God and who believed that whether or not they considered certain passages to be the Word of God, that the better route to take was to include them just in case. Not relegate them to the footnotes, but put them in the base text. And in fact, in many cases, the NBLA will agree with the King James over a lot of modern English versions. I figured I had to make a few things clear because once in a while I get people pushing Peter Ruckman's or Gail Ann, God and Ripplinger's beliefs on my channel, and I just want to make it sure I don't hold to those. I consider them heretical. That's not going to change. Jesus, freak out.